Hi everybody! Hello everyone! My name is Maddie. Welcome back to Get Your Play Online. Today we are going to be doing a mindfulness activity together. And this mindfulness activity is called Feel Better Flowers. And they're going to look something like this. So before we get started, we're just going to make sure that you have all your materials ready. So it's only going to be two things that you need. So a piece of paper, and it can be any color you want. So I just happened to have white paper, but if you have a special color that you'd like, that'd be even better. And then the other thing that you'll need is some type of drawing utensil. So I have some markers here with me and all sorts of fun colors, but you can use just one color if you'd like. You can use crayons, a pen, a pencil, colored pencils, whatever you'd like. Just something to write with and paper. All right, so let's get started. So for this mindfulness activity, I like to do it when I'm feeling not my best. So sometimes I'm feeling sad or angry or upset, and this is when I like to do this mindfulness activity. So, and that's why it's called Feel Better Flowers, is because the goal is to maybe feel a little bit better. And the way that we're going to do that is through, focusing on some positive things and, drawing, taking some time for ourselves, and just focusing on some positive things that might cheer us up. All right, so let's get started. So first we are going to take our piece of paper and a color that we want to make our flower. So you can make your flower any color. I think today I'm going to go for pink. So I have a pink pen here, and I'm going to draw a big flower on the middle of my page. And the only thing that needs to be in your flower is that the petals need to be big enough that you can write or draw something inside of it later. So you can draw any kind of flower you want, but just make sure that we're going to write in those petals later so you make them nice and big. So I'll show you guys my paper. So in the middle of our page, I'm going to draw one that looks kind of like a daisy, I think. So I'm going to draw these kinds of petals. Again, making sure I make them nice and big so that I can write or draw something in them later. So if you want to draw a different kind of flower, go ahead. You could draw a rose or a tulip, whatever kind of flower you want. So that's what I have so far. So now that we've drawn our flower, I'm also going to draw a stem and the ground underneath it. And you're going to want to make sure for the ground you have a little bit of room to write underneath that line. So I'll show you again. I've got my flower here. Can you see? There we go, that's a little better. So I'm drawing a stem and then a line across the bottom. Maybe it's grass, maybe it's dirt. I'm gonna draw a little leaf too, just for fun. And underneath this, maybe if I turn it this way, that might be easier. Underneath this ground, we're going to draw some roots. So, roots of a flower or a plant help them stay anchored to the ground, and they also help absorb water and nutrients. So, I don't know if you've all seen roots, but they look kind of like this, and they just have lots of little lines going all over the soil to soak up some water and some food. So I'm kind of drawing like that so that I have room to write on these later or draw. So that's the only requirement for that. It can be any color you want. You could make it all sorts of rainbow colors if you'd like. So now that we've drawn the roots, there's one more thing that we need to draw. And that is some water or rain droplets coming from either the sky or a watering can, a hose, whatever you want your water to come from. it all works. So I'm going to draw mine in blue, but you can use any color you want again. So I'm going to take this and let me show you again. Draw some water droplets up at the top. So up here at the top, I'm going to draw some big water droplets. And again, we are going to either be writing or drawing in these later, so make them nice and big if you can. So if you have room to make them nice and big, so, maybe water droplets don't look this big in person, but on our paper, it's nice to have them nice and big so that we have room to write. So it should look something like this so far. Again, you can have any type of flower, any kind of ground, any kind of water. The only requirement is that they're big enough that you can write inside. All right. I'll give you all some time to finish this part up. And if you want to draw in any of them, I think I might draw in the center of my flower. So let's do that before we move on. You can kind of decorate. And maybe I might add some orange to my flower too. Again, you can make this look like whatever you'd like. All right. Maybe I'll add another leaf as well. So now I've, made it look something like this. So now that we've drawn our flower, raindrops, and roots, we're going to give those all meanings, and we're going to write or draw inside of them, like I was saying earlier. So let's start with the raindrops, since we're up here at the top of the paper. So water helps flowers grow and blossom. So we're going to brainstorm some things that help us grow and blossom. Things or people or places that help boost us up and help us grow. We're just going to think about that for some time. So these can be anything. It can be people, places, things, even abstract concepts. So something like encouragement. I wrote that on my flower over here that I made before. So I wrote encouragement over there. That really helps me to feel like I'm growing and learning and feel a little bit happier. So sometimes it can be a little tricky to think of these things, especially if you're feeling sad or upset or angry. I'm going to challenge you all to think of at least 3 things to write in our water droplets that help you grow, help boost you up, make you feel like you blossom. So let's think. I'm going to think of some new things. And again, we're writing these inside of our water droplets, or if you'd rather not write, or writing might be tricky right now, you can draw them as well. So say you think that your friend helps you grow or blossom, you could draw a picture of them, or you could write my friend, you could write their name, whatever you'd like. So speaking of that idea, I think I'm going to write that. So I'm going to write talking with my friends. That helps me feel like I'm growing and makes me feel happy. Another thing that makes me feel like I'm, growing and blossoming is getting outside. I always feel a lot better when I get outside and enjoy nature. Just take some time to slow down. That always makes me feel like I have some time to grow and learn. I think another thing I said earlier, encouragement, and I think that's really important. Sometimes it really helps to hear from someone else how well you're doing. Sometimes we can forget And I think it's always nice to hear some encouragement from people that you know and care about. So I'm going to write that as well. And I have 2 raindrops left, so I'm going to keep thinking. I'm going to keep thinking about things that make me grow and learn and blossom, any of those types of things, because that's what water does for flowers. So for us, we're thinking of things that make us feel that same way. So I think another thing that's really important and makes me feel like I'm growing is self-care. And if you don't know what self-care is, it's kind of like what it sounds like. It's taking care of yourself and making sure, you have some time for relaxation, some time to reset, just have some time for yourself because days can get really busy. And it's always really important to take care of yourself. And that's kind of like what water does for flowers, right? It helps it grow, make sure it's getting taken care of, getting all of the things that it needs. I have one more raindrop. I think I'm gonna write, what am I gonna write? Something that always makes me feel like I'm growing is reflecting back on some accomplishments that I've had. So I'm gonna write that. Reflecting on my accomplishments. Sometimes it's easy to forget all of the things you've done in the past that have brought you here today. So sometimes that helps me, really recognize how much I've grown. And that can make me feel a little bit better if I'm feeling sad or anxious or upset. So, have you written all of your raindrops in, or water drops? It could not be from the rain. If you have, we are going to move on to writing inside our petals. So, we're going to move on to the flower petals. So, flowers are all so pretty, so beautiful, and unique. Even the same type of flower might look different. One rose might look different than the other rose, but they're all so beautiful. And so in these petals, we're going to write things that are beautiful or unique about ourselves. And we can get as creative as we want with this. So it can be something that, you find physically beautiful about yourself, but it can also be something that isn't so physical. I wrote in my last flower, let me show you. I wrote kindness, creativity, my smile. So those are things that I think make me unique and make me, a beautiful person, kind of like a flower. And that might feel a little cheesy, but it really made me feel better when I was not feeling, so happy. So I'm going to take my color of my flower. You can use the same color that you used before or a new one. And I'm going to write some new things that make me beautiful and unique as a person. I'm gonna brainstorm. I'll let you all brainstorm too. Give us a minute or two. And now I'm gonna write some things. So I'm gonna write them a little bit quieter this time, so you all have time to think. And then once I'm done, I will share them all with you. So again, we're just writing inside our petals things that we think make us unique or beautiful, things that make us kind of shine as a person. And I promise that you have some. So if it's feeling tricky, keep thinking. Everyone is beautiful and unique. So we're gonna keep writing, and I'm gonna show you guys mine in a second. Okay, so I just filled in all of my flower petals, and I wrote some things that you might not think initially when you hear the word beautiful. You might think of, someone's physical appearance, but I only wrote one like that, and I wrote my smile. But I also wrote the way that I make others feel welcome. So I think that I do a really good job at that if I meet someone new, making sure that they know they have someone friendly, to have a friend. And I think that that's something unique and beautiful about myself. And I wrote some others like that. So my positive outlook, I think even when I'm feeling sad, I always try to think about some positive things, and I think I like that about myself. And I wrote some other things in there too. Now we're going to go on to the roots. So if you drew your roots kind of like little lines, it should be easy to write or draw on top of them. And so flowers' roots help support it in the soil to help it grow, kind of like I said earlier. So on the roots, we're going to list people, places, even things that support us and help us to grow. So, for example, on one of the roots, I'm going to write my best friend. So I'm going to write my best friend. And they really support me, and just like a root does to a flower. So I'm going to think of some other things too. You can write all sorts of people, places, or environments. So, you can write about your family, your friends, classmates, teachers, doctors, even a pet if you'd like. And then you can also list communities, so or environments that you feel supported in. So like maybe your school, you feel really supported and you feel like everyone's a good support system. Or a sport that you attend and you feel supported by that team, stuff like that. So I'll leave you guys some quiet time to think about that and write those down on your roots. So again, we're writing those down here. So again, we are just writing down things that make us feel supported on those roots of our flowers, because that's what roots do for flowers. I'll give everyone some more time to brainstorm. And again, sometimes if we're feeling sad or upset or angry, it's hard to think of these things. So I just want you to know if you're struggling to come up with stuff to write down or draw, that's okay. You can take as long as you need to with this activity. But I promise that if you think about it and really reflect on it, there's always at least one for each of these categories. So if it's hard to think of 5, maybe think of 3. Or if it's hard to think of 3, even just 1, that's okay. Part of this activity is, being kind to yourself and letting whatever happens happen. So if you can only think of 1 for now, then that's all right. Just write that 1 down. Maybe take some time drawing or coloring in your flower in the meantime. So now your flower is complete. We have done the raindrops of what help us grow and blossom. We've done the petals of things that are unique or beautiful about ourselves. And then we have done the roots, so our support system, what keeps us grounded and helping us to grow above the ground. All right, so after doing this activity, I always like to take a minute to kind of reflect on how I'm feeling. So if I started the activity feeling kind of sad, am I still feeling sad? And that's okay if you are, or if you're still feeling angry. Or do you feel a little bit better? And of course, the goal is always to feel just a little bit better by focusing on those positive things, maybe even just a little more calm. But again, if you're not, that's okay. Maybe take another important part of this is just taking some time to draw and sit with those thoughts and just feel a little bit better. So I hope that you enjoyed creating these with me. I really enjoyed creating them with you. And I will see you next time with Get Your Plan Online. Bye everyone. I hope you have a great day.